Hi, I'm Mario Batali. Welcome to Italy, a culinary wonderland. Today we're cooking for Katherine from Chicago. First ingredient, jalapeños. Next up, kale. Next up, shrimp. How about a pound of these 1620s, please? Perfect. And the fourth ingredient, polenta. Let's get cooking. We're back in the kitchen. I'm cooking for Katherine from Chicago, who chose jalapeños, kale, shrimp, and polenta. Now, when I see shrimp and polenta, I immediately think of the American South, so I'm thinking shrimp and grits with an Italian twist to it. So the first thing you do is you get your shrimp, you toss them in a bowl with a little bit of all-purpose flour, a little salt and pepper. This is so that they get just a little bit of a crust. I use quite a bit of salt and pepper. Now, when you get shrimp ready to cook, you want to make sure you get all of your mise en place in order because shrimp cook relatively quickly. So now I'm looking over here to make the polenta. I'm going to take traditional polenta, which means this could take about an hour, and I put it into unseasoned boiling water, just like so. 5 cups of water to 1 cup of polenta. I bring it to a boil. I lower it to a high simmer with the top on, and I cook it until it's all the way cooked through, which means to say that there's still some texture to it, but it's more like a mush. A lot of people in America serve their grits very firm. I like more almost the texture of a velouté, which is what these are going to look like in a couple of more minutes. What I always add at the last second to season them is a good pinch of salt and maybe a tablespoon of honey. Now, this would be heresy in the South, but I love the kind of sweetness that the honey brings to the corn, and it allows it to taste, without being candy-like, a little more corny for me. When I think of corn on the cob, I think of one of the sweetest vegetables I eat all summer. I'm going to lower that to just what we call blopear, which is an Italian word that I made up, which means to blop, which is the noise and look it makes when it's cooking. Now, shrimp ready. Mise en place for the shrimp. I'm going to take some scallions and cut 1-inch pieces because I like the texture and the color. I'm going to take my garlic, and I'm going to do as I always do. 2 cloves in this case, sliced paper thin, just so that I can get the most surface onto the oil so that they cook with the most flavor extraction. Jalapeños, I'm going to take 1 to go in the dish, and I cut it into circles with the seeds because I like the heat that gives it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a little extra virgin olive oil in the pan. Now, the shrimp go in by themselves. We're going to cook them about 80% of the way. Flip them over. Let them just cook for a second on the other side. Then we're going to take them out and build the base of the sauce. In the meantime, I'm going to take some of this purple kale. If you found green kale or dinosaur kale, all of them are good. And I'm going to cut it very, very thin. That's going to give it a chance to cook quickly, wilt, without losing some of that fundamental kind of raw vegetal component that I love about it. There we go. Save the stems. I cook them separately for another dish. Now the shrimp are where I want them to be. I'm going to turn them over for 5 seconds, and now I'm going to completely take them off the heat. So as you can see, they're not really cooked through all the way. That's exactly how I want it. Now we're going to assemble the sauce. The sauce is all of these other ingredients. It's not a sauce like so thick of a sauce, but it has some red peppers in it. It has the chilies in it, 2 cloves of garlic, and I want to get that going. Because I don't mind that they sweat and lose their texture, I'm going to add some salt. If I wanted them to try to get crisp, I wouldn't salt them until the very last second. We're going to throw a little pepper in here. And fundamentally, the sauce is only going to be all of the liquid juices that come out of this stuff. I'm going to throw in the kale so it starts to wilt down. And I'm going to take another little piece of the kale to save for the garnish. Because one of the things I really like to do when I'm cooking is use both the raw and the cooked at the same time. And another little bit of the jalapeno. Cut it into like little julienne strips. So it'll give me something to stand up with. So I get that going like that. And I toss them in here. And then I'm going to add some lemon. So now whenever I use a lemon, I roll it on the board like that. I always use both the zest and the juice, because there's no reason to throw away this free zest. Then I juice it right into the pan. I do it like this. So as the juices go through my hand, my fingers catch the actual lemon seeds as they were. Now what you do is you toss the shrimp back in to just kind of heat them. The lemon juice is now creating an almost steam environment in it. What I love to do is take a little hot sauce, throw that in like so. Scallions go in, toss, toss, toss just to wilt. Now I'm ready to plate. Now again, remember, you'll see grits and polenta in a lot of places much thicker than this. But this is the way I like it, which is almost like soup. Then what I do, just for fun, I'm going to add pecorino and parmigiano. And what that does is it's going to create a funny little design that makes me happy. And then, like so. And then you plate the dish. They're perfectly cooked. You can see they're magnificently translucent. There is a nice little blast of chilies in there. Then what I do is I take those raw ingredients that I set aside, I dress them with a little bit of lemon juice and extra virgin olive oil, a little salt, just like it was a salad, and I pile that up on top so that you get the raw kale and the raw chilies in a perfect harmony, cooked with both. There you have it. Jalapeños, kale, shrimp, and polenta. This is gamberi e grits.